Toronto Maple Leafs have made multiple moves and ahead of the biggest game in a very long time for the Leafs, a must-win. We have some huge updates to go over, including multiple moves that Craig Berube has made in an effort to get this team going. I'm going to break down those surprising moves as well as discuss some wild comments as this is potentially the last time we see a couple of Leafs on this team. I'm going to break all that down in this episode. But before we get into it, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Leafs content. We'll be live following tonight's game, hopefully breaking down a big win against the Florida Panthers. But ton to go over today, ton of move happening, tons of updates to go over. And let's just dive right into it. There is some interesting and surprising moves, and Craig Berube is almost going back a little bit on what he at least believed prior to last game, and this one is extremely interesting. And let's start here, and you could see right here, Craig Berube and Austin Matthews are having a conversation before the Leafs practice gets underway ahead of Game 6. And obviously, it's good to have a guy like Craig Berube here now because he's going to be somebody who's been in these shoes before, at least from a coaching side. And you can see here, he's having a conversation with Austin Matthews. And to go over some of the updates here, Joseph Woll is going to be the goalie starting tonight. Basically, we assume that, especially after, he did have a pretty bad game last time, but after the Anthony Stolarz update and all these different things. However, you can see here, and there are some things to note. For one, Matthews and Marchand remain together. Max Domi remains in the game, but Holmberg and Järnkrok are back in the lineup. But Pacioretty is now moved down to the third line, so a ton of different moves here. And this is in an effort to, I was expecting some more changes, but I guess it is a lot of changes compared to last game where they got destroyed. So going to be interesting.
Yeah, Pacioretty moves down to the third line. You got Holmberg back with Tavares and Nylander, which at times against Ottawa, they didn't play that bad. I thought they were pretty good, but we'll see at this point in Game 6 against the Florida Panthers. And I have to say that, I feel like that conversation this morning between Matthews and Craig Berube was kind of like, hey, listen, I know you're injured. We all know that he's dealing with something, like, clearly, right? And like, listen, like, coming into this game, things are going to change after this game if they lose it. So nobody believes in you. What are you prepared to do about it tonight? Are you actually going to change this narrative? And I keep bringing up the 2018 Caps because they were in a similar situation where they went up 2-0 in a series against Tampa Bay in the Eastern Conference Final, and then Tampa Bay won 3 games straight, and it was the exact same narrative. Like, do we have to move off of Ovi? This group can't get it done, and then they ended up winning 2 games. So it's not over until it's over. I have no reason to believe that they would get this done based on the past, but you still have an opportunity in front of you. And everyone's talking about Mitch Martin already and what they're doing next season and off-season moves. I'm not there yet. Let's see what happens tonight. I fully expect them to win this game and again lose in heartbreaking fashion in Game 7 because that's just what they do. But interesting lineup decision. And listen, at the end of the day, what they did last game, it didn't work. It clearly in disastrous fashion, right? So they're going back to what was working earlier in the series with a little bit of a twist, right? Holmberg up on the second. And honestly, Holmberg hasn't been that bad in the playoffs. I think he's been fine. A lot of people have been dogging on him. I think he's been okay. Pacioretty down to the third line. We'll see what they do. And I feel like taking Domi out, he's the type of guy that could end up getting a goal. Like, he scored that overtime winner against Ottawa, right? I don't know if you can take him out, but man, he needs to clean it up big time.
Yeah, and a couple other notes. Again, the fourth line now has Laurent Slot and New Yorker. They're basically going back to the Ottawa series a little bit, but also to the game a
Yeah.
couple days ago with Pacioretty and Holmberg swap, but also just Holmberg coming into the game, which they tried the Nick Robertson. He did score a goal, funny enough, but again, that wasn't enough to keep him on. They want to rock with what's working, which makes the decision to not have him, Holmberg or Järnkrok playing for Game 5 a little bit interesting, but they wanted to change it up, and they're deciding to not, I guess, go back to the original lineup with some alters for Game number 6 in a must-win game. And regarding the power play, which has been terrible, nothing changes there. They're basically going down with the ship here. McMahon's still on the they have McMahon in the power play 2, Riley OEL and the 5 forwards on power play 1. At the end of the day, they're going down with whatever they're not going to make any drastic changes, whether that's splitting up Matthews and Marner like some were hoping, or they move Pacioretty down. But at the end of the day, it's going to be on this team to come out and actually win the game. But the moves that they made, a little bit surprising. I'm a little bit surprised to see them go back to the original lineup. But Brad Marchand spoke out with some more reverse psychology here, and he spoke about how Game 5 might light a fire under the Leafs ahead of Game 6. If anything, it's going to make them hungrier to have a bounce-back game and prove a lot of people wrong, which is a very dangerous situation. I want to get your thoughts on this. When they were down 2-0, Brad Marchand praised the Leafs, and they came back, and now he's still praising the Leafs. Obviously, some reverse psychology. There is something to be said there. If they come out and they just lay an egg and they don't show effort, like, for example, the Winnipeg Jets did yesterday when they were down, just dominated the game from start to finish. If we see an effort like that, then maybe we can start to believe for Game 7. But if they come out and play the way they've been playing, it's going to be the last game as Mitch Marner with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I mean, some of what he's doing could be reverse psychology, but he's also right. I mean, the Leafs, we know, have the ability to come out and have a really good game, so they could still do that. And again, force a game seven, and then from there, anything can happen. But I think he's right, right? Like losing that way does motivate some people. Some people work differently, and it could go the other way, but it does motivate certain players and certain people. So maybe it will, right? Certain guys might come out with a little bit of a fire tonight. We'll see what happens. And then, especially with all the scrums that happened at the end of the game, right? Which I think took way too long from the Leaf side to start because you're still in a playoff series here. But yeah, I think Brad Marchand's been a factor all series. So the Leafs just got to get back to playing their game. I feel like they played really scared last game. This is it. Your back is against the wall at this point, and not only like in seasons past, at this point, like things will actually change after tonight if you lose this game. So just go all out. Like, do not be afraid to make mistakes. And you can't be when you're playing playoff hockey. You can't. Like, look at some of the other teams, like you mentioned, the Winnipeg Jets. Do you think they played scared last night? They said, listen, if we don't play our best, we're going home. So do that tonight. If you play scared, you're going to get killed again. So we'll see what they bring to the table because you never really know with this team. But I also wanted to touch on Joseph Woll quickly before I throw it back to you. Like a lot of people are giving him a hard time. I wouldn't put last game on Joseph Woll. I think he's come in and done all right. And, the team just collapsed in front of him last game. So I expect him to have another good performance. He held them in the game in the first period, only being down 1-0 last game. So if he has another performance like that, they have a shot. But the guys, they got to get on the forecheck. Florida's absolutely smashing everybody on the forecheck. Every single defenseman on the Leafs is getting hit, and the Leafs are not doing the same. They have to establish a forecheck in this game and, hunt pucks. They just have to get on it tonight.
Yeah, and you had the Leafs on their tail, or the Leafs had the Panthers on their tails a little bit there and on their heels for game 3. You couldn't get the job done. Game 4 was brutal. Game 5 was brutal. It's all going to come down to game 6 here. And Austin Matthews was asked about his health. He said no one is ever 100% this time of year. Everyone's playing through something. So again, we know he's hurt to the degree. We'll probably find out as soon as later tonight into tomorrow morning if they lose, or hopefully it'll be later if they win. But at the end of the day, he's not. It's probably his wrist. He hasn't been able to hit the net, though. He did have probably a series high 6 shots in game 5. So if he can continue that, get a couple lucky bounces. A lot of the bounces haven't been going the Leafs' way either, but that's what happens when you're playing a defensive game the whole time. And it's going to be crazy. And on the Panther side, they know there's going to be some pushback. They know there's going to be some craziness happening tonight. And Craig Berube, regarding Matthews and Marner sticking together, he says, I trust them. I believe in them. Like I said, they're going down with the ship here, and whether that's going to be, prove to be an effective technique hasn't been for the past 7 or 8 years, and maybe tonight will be a different night and they can come out. And if they have a great game, then I'll buy all the way back in for game 7.
Yeah, absolutely. I want them to win, right? Full disclosure, like everyone's already crashing out that, and again, looking at off-season moves and that they've lost this series. They haven't. The series is just not done yet, right? There's going to be a lot of time for that if they do lose the series, but they haven't lost yet. But like you mentioned, they're going down with the same lineup, right? Like if they're going to go down, they're going to go down in flames this time, which I think is fine, I guess. But, and Craig Berube saying that he has faith in them, like nobody does at this point, even Leaf fans, like nobody does. So again, nobody believes in you. What are you prepared to do about it? You have an opportunity to finally change the narrative and actually go on and win this series. But, it's right in front of you. Like it does a series, of course, you can look back on games, right? And the momentum sometimes does carry, but it's game by game, right? You can go out and win this game and change everything. So they're still in this series until they're not. So we'll see what they do with this first period. They have to start on fire because they didn't do that in game 5 and they haven't done that a lot. So we will see what they bring to the table. One last opportunity. And this might be the last bit of content we do before the game. So this could be the last game that we see, Mitch Marner as a Toronto Maple Leaf. They have an opportunity here to change things, show us that they finally changed, or finally we'll get some change.
Yeah, let us know. We'll be live following the game. Stay tuned for that, whether it's positive or hopefully not a negative stream. But that'll wrap it up. Let us know what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching.